Sandhan, all Gujarat integrated classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Good afternoon to all of you. I am Dr. Rakesh Damir, and today I have been given an opportunity to take one of the poems of Elizabeth Browning, and this is a sonnet. As far as this poem is concerned, this poem has a great essence, a great passion. The bottom line of this poem is that that it is about love, affection, passion. And many times that when a person is submerged into a passion, then it becomes an alter ego. And this is the essence or pith of the poem. Now, as far as these poems are concerned, which are incorporated in Gujarat University, the main purpose or main aim of this poem is to understand the poem, to develop the language. And a very important thing is that that what is the meaning which gives between or beyond the line. We have to understand, imbibe, absorb, inculcate. And important thing is that that how to implement in life. Now, as far as this poem is concerned, this poem, how do I love thee? How do I love thee? Now, as far as the word thee is concerned, thee means you. It's an archaic English. And when we convey about, as far as the whole sentence is concerned, that how do I love thee? It means that, that how can I love you? It is not that, that why I can love you, but how can I love you? And specifically, as far as the present century or present scenario in which we are living in, there is a lot of turmoil, lot of problems, lot of tortures, lot of conflict, depression, stress, and all sort of stuff we are finding as such. And I think so that that even though it might have written 200 years back, but the significance or the pith of the meaning of this poem is concerned, it is very much prevalent, or it is very much topical in our present time as such. And when you talk about the love, as far as the phrase love is concerned, this word has been used many times in the poem. And I think so that that in present scenario, the significance or the importance of this line, of this word, how do I love thee, and specifically the word love, it has been refrained, it has been used many times. It signifies that that there should be the love between people, between the states, between the country. Tolerance and love, these are the very significant words presently, which in a real sense it has to be used. It does not have a shallow meaning. Because when the things goes shallow, then the conflict or the problem begins as such. But as far as this poem is concerned by Elizabeth Browning, this comes from the core of the heart. And very important thing that that when the things are coming with passion, with intensity, then that those lines have the meaning. In a very loose term, you can say that I love you. And with a deep breath, with the soul, with your heart, with your psyche, with your mind, if you are using this word I love you, it has a very deep meaning as such. So I think so that that words are words, but when the emotions comes with the word, it has a very significant meaning about it as such. So as far as this poem is concerned, I love you thee, in a present scenario, I think so that that the people should have this thing in their mind, in their psyche, in their heart, and this is the way that they can develop the things as such. Now, before taking this poem, I will be talking about the analysis, and I will be talking about before I will go through, I will be having a summary and the analysis of this poem as such. First of all, we will have a little bit about the poet, and then I will be coming to the poem as such. Now, as far as this poem is concerned, How Do I Love Thee by Elizabeth Browning is a poem from the sonnet from the Portuguese sequence, which the poet had written during the days of Courtship by Robert Browning. Now, Robert Browning was also one of the great poets, and very important thing is that that when you have a courtship, the emotions or the intensity becomes very, very powerful as such. And here we find that that Elizabeth Browning writing a poem to Robert Browning, very it is not only about the words, but very important thing is that that the emotions which have come up, and this is the reason that that the poem has survived since last 200 years as such. So during the courtship period, Robert Browning, this poem was written to Robert Browning by Elizabeth Browning. Now this poem is a true reflection of the intense love which the poet felt for her beloved. When a person is in love, the things becomes obvious, the things becomes conspicuous, the things becomes natural, and the writing becomes very natural about it. But very important thing is that that love should come from the core of the heart. That is very important thing. The fundamental is that that it should not be the infatuation, lagni, uppar thai. એવું નથી ઉપરથી લાગણી હોવી જોઈએ. But the thing is that that love should go into the deep of the heart. Very important thing is in present scenario we see that that why there are conflict and why there are problem in the society, for the simple reason that that present love is like the bubble which burst very fast. But when we have the understanding of love, when we have the understanding of the passion, when we have the understanding of the true love, then the things becomes that the things becomes easy. It's like walking on the cloud, and it is that that living a life in a very graceful manner. And here what we find that that Elizabeth Browning, she was truly in love with Robert Browning, and this lines have come naturally to her. It's a 14-line poem, sonnet. Sonnet means 14-line poem, and this 14-line poem, it has the significance, it has the deeper meaning. And many a times, in poems, words are not only the words, but you have to read the lines, you have to read between the lines, you have to read beyond the lines. And a very important thing is that that imbibing, absorbing, and inculcating the material, that is a very, very fundamental thing about it. Now this article provides a complete summary and analysis of How Do I Love Thee by Browning. How do I love thee? There are numbers of ways that that love can be expressed. And a very important thing is that that love is not like as we call it that that 2 + 2 is equal to 4. It has various shades. Love is not 2-dimensional, it is 3-dimensional. And very important thing that that expression of words in love does not come only by words. It can comes by expression, it can come by silence, it can come by gestures. So all sort of things, the love in totality, all the things are incorporated. But as far as this 14 lines of love are concerned, now this lines specifically, it has tested the time, and even today after so many years also, these lines are so powerful about the love as such. Now the poet, while trying to express her undying love for her beloved, began to count the some ways in which she loves him. There is a love for God, there is love for children, there is a love for spouse, there is a love for brother, sister. There are numbers of forms of love. But very important thing is that that when love becomes intense, the love becomes intense when understanding is there, when tolerance is there, when passion is there. And when this type of things are there, then that then you surpass the love. And here we find that that Elizabeth Browning, in her 14 lines, she has created magic, she has created miracle. And as far as this magic is concerned, in this lines, it is, if a person understands this line, then he can definitely metamorphosize, he or she can change the life as such. Now here, by counting the number of ways, the poet is trying to show that the love is in her heart for her soulmate is present in all walks of her life. Okay, when a person is in love, then then it goes into the subconscious level. You're always thinking about it. Is you may be sleeping, or you may be waking, or you may be talking to someone, you may be reading a book, you may be watching a television. But a true love is always in the subconscious mind. And this subconscious mind, it is like intoxicant. जैसे व्यक्ति नशे में होता है. Here also we find that Elizabeth Browning, whatever the activity she is doing, but she is intoxicant. She is always having that thing in the mind about Robert Browning. And she's telling that, that numbers of ways are there. You tell me. It is not that one way of loving a person, but there are numbers of ways that, that a love can be expressed. A love can be sensual, a love can be platonic, a love can be physical, a love can be expressed in numbers of ways as such. And a true love, we call it as a spiritual love. And this true love, takes us towards the spirituality, it takes us towards the religion, it takes us towards the worship. And here we find that, that Elizabeth Browning is devoted, dedicated towards her love. And this is the reason that, that if you tell me that, love can be expressed in this way, I can tell you that love can be expressed in numbers of ways as such. So here we find that, that the power of love which has been expressed by Elizabeth Browning. And this is what, that the student has to understand. Nowadays, as far as the present generation is concerned, the present generation, we call it as a Y generation. And Y generation means, it's like, it's like a 2 minutes Maggie sort of things as such. Today they know certain people, and tomorrow, the things are evasive as such. But as far as this poem is concerned, this poem, I think so the student should absorb, the student should understand, and they should implement that this type of love they have to absorb, so that, tomorrow specifically, when we understand life, when we understand love, then we may not be in some sort of problems as such. So this poem has a bottom line understanding, and this bottom line understanding, I think so that, that things have to be incorporated in the mind. Now the poet says that the love which she feels for her beauty is so strong that it fills every pore of a soul. Pore of a soul. Now we call it that, physical love. When we call it that, that in a cerebral froze in the mind, you are having one sort of attraction or infatuation. And third thing is that, that you love by heart. And fourth thing is that, love by soul. Okay. And when you are having an affinity, when you are having the attraction, when you are having an infatuation, and that infatuation, that attraction, that intensity, it takes all the forms. It takes the physical form, it takes the cerebral mind, it takes the heart, and it definitely goes into the soul also. આપણા શરીરની અંદર છે ને ઘણા બધા પોર્સ છે. And when you are having an attraction for some person, તો બધા પોર્સની અંદર you will be finding that that attraction, ચુંબકીય, magnetic, that magnet you will be finding. Many a times, what happened that, we meet certain people, and that people, they are having the magnetic personality, and it is, that our body, our whole body is attracting that person towards us as such. Here also, Elizabeth Browning is telling that, that as far as her every pore of the body is having an attraction for another person. And when you have this type of feeling, when you have this type of intensity, then you are loving a person from soul. According to one of the poets, that that beauty is skin deep. When you call beauty is skin deep, it means that that beauty comes from the soul. Even though your body may be having the wrinkles, but specifically when you are having a golden heart, then you may be having an attraction. And as far as this beauty is concerned, it trespasses the time, it transforms the time. And here what we are finding in Elizabeth Browning, that that every pore of her soul is having an infatuation, attraction and intensity towards another person. And who is another person? Robert Browning is another person. And here we find that that this type of attraction or intensity creates the beautiful lines. And this is the thing that that which creates the magic as such. Now it is a way of expressing the beautiful fact that everything in and around her leads her to that love. When you are in love, you may not be with a person, but you may be with the person's thought. And even though you may that telepathy is there. And here we find that that even though Elizabeth Browning is not with Robert Browning, but always she is yearning for him. She is always thinking about it. And thoughts and yearning, these are the very forceful words which a person has definitely survives on these two words as such. Now the poet says that the love which he feels for the beauty is so strong that it fills every pore of her soul. And very important thing is that that when you are filled with love, then you don't require any other materialistic things as such. A person with the true love can survive throughout on love. That is a very important thing about it. In our society, we have seen that that the person may be having the wealth, they may be having materialism, and they may be having everything in the life, but when they are devoid of love, devoid of relationship, then what happens? Their life falls like ninepins. But when you have love, and when you don't have the other things, then on love you can have the survival. That's a very important part. Here, what the poetess express, that that love is such a force, that this force is enough to fill her life. And when a person is filled with that love, then very important thing is that that the person does not require any other thing as such. This is the force of love. And this is the prasada, manna, what we call. This is a manna which has been given by God to the people. I think so that the biggest prasad what God has given us is love. And through this love we create relationship, and with this relationship we have the survival. And with this, if we want to have a good survival, then love and relationship, these are the two things which are very essential in our life, and through which we that we can cross the sea of life as such. So what happens, that the adoration which Elizabeth carries in her heart is a part of her existence, which is why when she tries to map out the out of sight boundaries of her soul and the world around her, she realizes that her love for her beloved extends just as far. Now, no boundaries of love. Love is such a force. Everything may be having the boundaries in the life. But when you draw the boundaries, it means that that we are limiting the love. That is a very important part. Here what we find that that as far as the poetess is concerned, she has come out of the boundary, and this boundary the people are drawing in the life, the society is drawing the life. And when you come out of the boundary, it means that that you have extended, you are on the other plane of the life as such. And here we find that that Elizabeth Browning, she does not consider the limits of love, the boundaries of love. The boundaries and limit, it keeps you in the prison, it keeps you in the cage. And when a person is in the cage, then suffocations and all sort of problems and all sort of torture comes as such. So when a person is free when he is in love. And when I am calling love, it means I am calling authentic love. And what is authentic love? The authentic love which comes from the recess or from the core of the heart. And here we see that that few lines which definitely makes a lot of significance in life. Then this means that her affection defines her existence and world around in ways which is not apparent to the mortal sight. Now, when we talk about that, that we find that when a person is in affection, that when a person is in a relationship, then very important thing is that that the person is always having that life, And very important thing that that this life definitely gives the power, and this is a God-given power. And when we talk about the God-given power, then it has to be realized. Many a times that love cannot be expressed in sentences, love cannot be expressed in gestures, love cannot be expressed through eyes, but love can be expressed through feelings, realization. And when a person realizes or feel about this love, then everything becomes evasive. Then you don't require anything as such. So here the poetess is trying. She is not telling that that as far as my lines are concerned, they are the love, but in a way I am expressing my love in a sonnet, but as far as my realization of love is concerned, they are beyond the words. This is a very important point. Many times the lovers are sitting and they are not talking, but the silence is more powerful than the words. That is very important thing as such. And here we find that that Elizabeth Browning is not writing a treatise. She is not writing a novel. She is just writing 14 lines. Gagar mein sagar. And many a times a small things gives the big significance. It gives the big meaning. And in 14 lines she has talked a lot, which probably I cannot be able to speak in an hour as such. So very important thing is that that love has to be realized, expressed when specifically we are loving from the core of the heart. Now what are the themes of how do I love thee? As far as the theme is concerned, now next is how do I love thee? We will try to understand the nature of the poet's love. The poet believes that every man has a basic ethical goodness in him which helps him choose the right path. Now when we talk about the love, then a person has to be chaste, he has to be sanctimonious, he has to be pious from the mind. Love does not come to the manipulating people. Love does not come to the cunning people. And very important thing is that that as far as this love is concerned, the love comes to pure people. And when this love comes to pure people, chaste people, then this love becomes immortal. And I consider that that Elizabeth Browning's poems have become immortal because her love was immortal. And this is the reason that that it has survived the test of the time as such. And I consider that that as far as these lines are concerned, this lines comes from her heart, and then only then it has the significance of life as such. Now her affection defines her existence and the world around, and which not apparent to the mortal sight. Now when we talk about that that many a times we see, when we are talking that lovers are talking, or when we see some serials, some movies, and we laugh at, we mock at that that what is love. Now this type of things we have seen in many movies, we have seen in many serials, and we disapprove about the love. But a very important thing is that that a person who has fallen in love will be understanding the significance of love. When I am not fallen in love, and when I see a movie, or when I read a poem, or when I see the lover, I will not be able to understand their what they have realized. I will not be able to understand that as such. So very important thing to understand these lines, or to understand the poem. It is very important thing. A person should realize the love, and then only then the person should read the poem. Otherwise, this 14 lines poem will just become the words. It will just become a sonnet, but it will not signify anything. And a person will be thinking that he or she is just wasting the time. We are worshipping to the God. And a person who is agnostic, Nastic, એ નાસ્તિક વ્યક્તિને જે ભગવાન જે પથ્થરની જેમ લાગશે. Why? Because the things are not coming from the recess of the heart. And when there are inner feeling, then the stone will become the God. But when we don't have the inner feeling, then what will happen? That we will become atheist, Nastic. And this atheism will take us nowhere as such. So sensitivity should be there. And this sensitivity, faith, belief, all sort of things are concerned, it takes us to a theism. And we talk about theism, it means astikta, and astikta takes us towards the love. And here, we find that, that when we are talking about the relationship between two person, we are transgressing. We are absolutely transgressing the physical love. And when we are transgressing the physical love, then definitely we are going towards the spiritual love as such. And what is spiritual love? Spiritual love means God, going towards the God as such. Now, only the poet feels the power of the true love which envelops her. After adding this hint of divinity of her poem, the poet transcends to a more down-to-earth description of her love. The words become simple in love. Simplicity, thy name is love. And here, all the 14 lines, it may be by Keats, or it may be Shelley, or it may be Coleridge, or it may be Wordsworth, or it may be by Robert Browning or Elizabeth Browning. We will be finding that, that as far as the love for nature is concerned, love for people is concerned, love for eternity, for divinity is concerned, we find it is extreme. And this intensity becomes a simple word. When love is simple, the words become simple. And when the words become simple, the other person is able to understand. Here what the poetess wants us that, to understand is that, that my words are simple. Because when you speak a child, you see a child speaking. And when you see a child speaking, you will be able to understand everything as such. Because, the words are very simple. And there is no cluttering. There is no complexity. And we are able to understand, and we love to talk, and we love to listen to children. And that is the true love, what we call. Here also what we find that, that as far as Elizabeth Browning is concerned, she says that, that my love is pure, it's chaste. And very important thing is that, that this chaste love I have tried to put in a very simple language. And even this, my lines, as far as these lines are concerned, even a layman can understand about it as such. You don't have to be a literate person a literature person to understand these lines are concerned. So it speaks volumes about the poetess as such. Now, she says that her lover is her everyday need, and she is so deeply in love with her soulmate that he is as important as basic necessities of life. Then when we talk about the basic necessities of life, oxygen, air we call, water, our breathing. Now these are the basic necessities. We don't have to think about it. It comes in our subconscious level. And this subconscious level, the love is also which comes in our subconscious level. And she says that, that as far as this love is concerned, this love is my daily necessity, appetite. And when I don't get this appetite, when I don't meet her, when I don't talk to him, when I don't think about him, then, my life is incomplete. And it is very important thing is that, that the essentiality of life, the life is made of when we get the daily necessities of life. And love is one of the daily necessities which the poets think that, that she is incomplete without it as such. Now she wants to see her love in the light of the sun and by the candlelight. Now she has used two adjectives. One, she has used sun. Sun means throughout the day, and sun is a big force. And the other adjective she has used is a candlelight. Now sun and candlelight means day and night. Candlelight means that, when we lit the candle at night. So, in day or at night, you require the basic necessities of life. And the poetess absolutely tells without any qualms that, that this, if she does not get, she is feeling absolutely incomplete about it as such. And when the love comes from the heart of the life, it becomes a religion. The other person becomes a demigod. Bhagwanni jem thai jay chhe. Okay? And this is the reason that, that why we have find a beautiful lines by the poet throughout the centuries, because they have fallen in love. And when you fall in love, then the things comes spontaneously. It comes naturally. And here the lines, the sonnet of the poetess comes naturally. This means that she wants to be with her love all the hours of the day such that every minute of her existence is filled by him. I use the word alter ego. Alter ego એટલે જે બીજાનું વ્યક્તિત્વ છે એ તમારી અંદર આવી જાય છે. You do not know about the things as such. Many a times, when two lovers are there, so what happens, the character or whatever the thinking of the other person is concerned, it comes into the first person. Now here we find that Elizabeth Browning, she tells that 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, no, I want all his time with me. And all his time is very important because when the other person is not with me, my life becomes suffocating. Gungnaman thai જાય છે જિંદગીમાં. This is, we find that that a lover always talking on phones or always like to meet, for the simple reason that that when the lovers are not together, they are feeling absolutely suffocating. They are feeling incomplete. And here the poetess tells that that I want all his time. Feeling means કે એ વ્યક્તિનું આખું જે અસ્તિત્વ છે, as far as his character is concerned, as far as his identity is concerned, this identity should always with me for 24 hours. Now this is not possible. But a very important thing is that that when the other person is not there, you are thinking in thoughts. You're thinking that that many a time that hallucination takes place. Hallucination એટલે કે જ્યારે વ્યક્તિ નથી આવતો તો પણ એવું લાગે છે કે દરવાજા ઉપર આવ્યો છે, કે મારું ફોન કદાચ વાગી રહ્યો છે. So this type of things happens. This type of thing transpires. And here we find that that Elizabeth Browning conspicuously, she tells without any fear or favor that I want to be with my lover because I cannot live without him, and his presence is very important because it fills my life. It is not filling of the time. It is not filling his thought in the mind, but filling the life. વિચારોથી ભરવું, સમયથી ભરવું એ જુદી વસ્તુ છે. પણ જ્યારે વ્યક્તિ જિંદગીથી ભરતો હોય, then we find that that completeness is there. And here we find that completeness we find here as such. Now this means that the love in her heart comes to her as naturally as the intrinsic goodwill present in mankind. When the love is there, then the things comes naturally. And here her heart is always craving for him. Heart and mind craving for. When when a person is in love, the mind and the heart, they become synonymous. કારણ કે મગજ ચાલતું નથી અને હાર્ટ જે છે એ always a person is thinking about it. So now we call it that એ હૃદય અને મગજ જે છે એ પર્યાયવાચી બની જાય છે. They become synonymous as such. And here also always craving and always thinking for her beloved, that that he should come to me, he should talk to me, he should fill my life. And that feeling of life is a very important part of my life. Otherwise how could my survival takes place? Okay. Now next is, she further adds that she does not love or write about it with the expectation of praise in return. Now as far as these lines are written by Elizabeth Browning, she does not want any applauding, she does not want any appreciation કે મેં આ લાઈન લખી છે એના આ લાઈનના વખાણ થવા જોઈએ. But the lines are written in a true sense. When the things are coming from the core of the heart, then you don't require any praise. જ્યારે કોઈ વસ્તુ નેચરલી, જ્યારે સચિન તેંડુલકર બેટિંગ કરતો તો he does not want any appreciation from the spectator, but he is loving to play. That is very important thing. And when a person is loving, he writes a line, and when he or she is writing a line, it does not mean that he or she is expecting any applauding or any praise from the people. It is written in the true way. It is not written for getting the favor, for getting the appraisal, for getting the praise. And very important thing, when you don't have any vested interest, when you don't have any motives, then what happened? That your writing becomes immortals. That is very important thing. Why you find that that the writing of Shakespeare has become immortal? For the simple reason, he did not write just to praise the people, but what was coming in his mind or what was coming is in his heart, that came spontaneously or naturally to him, and that is the reason that he has written. Now she writes about to show that the world and her beloved, the love which grips her heart through her true words. As far as the words are concerned, words are not shallow, words are true. It has the significance, and when this word has a significance, then only then we can say that that it is a bona fide, or it is a true, it is a genuine, it is pristine love, what we call it as such. Now she says that her love is her everyday need. She is so deeply in love with her soulmate that he is important of the basic necessity of life, and she wants to be her love all the hours of the day, that every minute of her existence with the feel. Now very important thing is that that here we find that that as far as love is concerned, there is a chemistry, there is an alchemy, okay, and when two substances meet and we find the chemistry in that, and then only then we find that that a true another substance come it. જ્યારે બે દ્રવ્ય આપણે ભેગા કરીએ અને એ બે દ્રવ્યોની અંદર કેમિસ્ટ્રી થાય, then only then we will be finding that that a true substance has come out of the two elements here. And here Robert Browning and Elizabeth Browning, these are the two substances where we find the chemistry between it, and this chemistry have become immortal. It has become definitely the best thing what has happened in the life. Now the poet, while shedding further light upon her love, tells us that the passion which she feels for her better half is like the one which she felt when she was deeply grieved. Now very important thing about the poem is that that her love is like childlike, and when we talk about childlike love, it means that we find the element of essence. And when we talk about essence, when we see a child, in that child we find genuineness. And this genuineness is very important as far as the true love is concerned. And here what she says that that when she is grieved or when she is childlike, then definitely this type of love emerges out as such. Passion arising out of her grieved heart is of the deepest kind. Now which is the best passion of the life? The best passion of the life is not that when a person is pleasant, when a person is happy, when a person is ecstatic. But the true passion or the genuine passion, what we call it, is that you will be when you will be grieved. So here we find that that when she is grieved, a real passion comes from her heart as such. And she says that after falling in love with her beloved, those old grievances seem insignificant now, as all the passion which they infused in her then gets used up in loving her beau now. Now she had fallen in love before also, and what happened that that in that love she had been betrayed, and this betrayal she is not able to tolerate, she is not able to endure. Many a time what happened that that past incidents we are not able to forget, and here also what happens that that once incident which has been transpired, and that incidents that she was on the receiving end. Now from her side, her love was genuine, her love was bona fide, but she did not get the response from other side. And when you don't get the response from other side, what happened that that your heart is ruined, and you many a time you don't get the words to express yourself. And she has find the refuge, she has find the shelter in Robert Browning. Now she is not even fearing, she is not frightening to talk about her past love. Even her past life she is able to express. And here we find that that as far as life is concerned, her life is like the open book, and she does not have any qualms, she does not have any reservation to talk about the past life. And she is even expressing her feeling about the past life and the tortures and the tribulation what she had faced in her past life, and she is comparing her old love with the new. And she tells that that even though she is not able to forget even the old love, but when you get the substitute, when there is something other to fill, then it's not that you will be able to forget your past life, but the things are diluted. and that substitute, and that is, if in the second case also, if it is genuine, then your life is filled with the things as such. So Elizabeth Browning says that that as far as past life is concerned, her past lover is concerned, she's trying to forget, but that is also a very grievous thing. But with the Robert Browning, whatever her feelings are concerned, she is able to dilute her past feelings as such. Now, when she is with her love, she feels that the same sense of security which she felt when she was a kid. When the children require security, when with the children, the mother and father are together, the child is on the cloud 9, is on the 7th heaven, and is feeling very ecstatic and very happy about it as such. So she tells that that when her lover is with her, then she is feeling the sense of security, and that sense of security, in a way, she is able to express her thought. She is feeling that that whatever her fears and thinking are concerned about the past, she can share with Robert Browning. So she has compared her life with the life of kid. As kids are feeling very secured with their parent, she is very much feeling very secured with her lover. This means she lives to love. Her love emanates from all her smiles and tears, which tells the reader that she loves her soulmate through both good and trying times. Now, very important thing that that love is not only about the pleasant time. Love is about the difficult times. Love is about the conflict times. Love is in the times of tribulations and trials. The true love is not about at the time of the good days. It is about the salad days or about the best days. But the true love, what we call, is that when you get the support, when you are bolstered in the difficult times, then that love definitely love flourishes. That love is fruitful. And here we find that that her companionship or her love in the trying times or in the pleasant times, she is ecstatic. Many times in the trying time, when you have the support, then that difficulty is diluted, because you can share the difficulties with your soulmates. Many times we see that that the lovers or the people are committing suicides. Why they are committing the suicide? Because it is not about the circumstances. It may be about the circumstances, but because of devoid of support, when you do not get the mental support, physical support, financial support, then what happens? That your life becomes one sort of a hell as such. And here in the trying times also, in the pleasant times also, she is able to get the support of her lover, and this is the reason that that her life has become heaven. And the best part of it is that that she is able to forget her past lover with the new lover, for the simple reason that the new lover is able to understand her past feelings. And this is the reason that that she appreciates Robert Browning to the core. This is the significance of it. That why she is appreciating, because Robert Browning can endure, tolerate, understand, and he can give the true meaning of the love by understanding Elizabeth Browning. And this is the way that we find that that the love is blossoming. Now, very important thing is that that we will be going to talk about the poem, the 14 lines, and whatever analysis I made about, I will be going to talk about the nutshell, because I have given the analysis and summary about the poem. But as far as the poem is concerned, I am going to talk about the poem as such. Okay. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Now, when she is telling that, that she is not telling why I cannot love thee. She is telling how do I love thee. There are numbers of countless ways in which I can love. And let me count the ways. My whole life will pass away by just counting that how I will be loving you. Now I love thee to the depth and breadth and height. Now she is transgressing the limits, and when she is transgressing the limit, she is talking about the breadth and height. She crosses the breadth and height, and she does not want to confine her love with just the breadth and height. My soul can reach when feeling out of sight. It is not that that when I am meeting you, there is my love. Even in your absence also, it's an alter ego of my love. So when I talk about the alter ego of my love, it means that that my soul can reach even though I'm not meeting you, even though my love is for you. That is very important part. When you have the physical love, it means that you require a person. But when you don't have the physical love, it means that that the soul can reach without having a sight of another person. For the ends of being an ideal grace, and the love is the ideal grace. Love is not a materialistic thing. Love is not just the thing. But when I talk about the love, it means that that it has the ideal grace also. I love this to the levels of everyday's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. And when she says about it, then that it's about the everyday necessity. It's like, as I told before, that you require water, you require air, you require sun. In the same way, there is a vacuum. If there is a vacuity of love, then my survival will become very difficult. So I require the love in a day. And when she talks about the day, it means sun. And when she talks about night, it means it is a candlelight. I love thee freely as man strive for right. Man is striving for right. We have seen since century that that man is always they want to get the right, as the person want to get the right hak. It in the same way she is striving for love. She considered that that my love, I should get my love as a person want to get his right. Now I love thee freely as man strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn for praise. And as far as my love is concerned, it comes from the core of my heart. It is chaste, and very important thing is that that I am not striving for praise. As far as my lines are concerned, as far as my sonnets are concerned, this sonnets is just not for the praise, but as far as this lines are concerned, this comes from the core of my heart, and I don't expect anything, for the simple reason that that I love from my heart. Now I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love with a passion put to use. And when you talk about the passion, then very important thing is that that passion is such a big force, and if it comes from the heart, then it becomes a tsunami. And here we find that here we find there is a tsunami of love in the heart of Browning. And very important thing is that that this tsunami has inspired her, motivated her to write a poem. In my old grave and my childhood's faith, in her old grave, she was in love with another person, and there also she had an intensity, but she did not get a response from another person. Here also she tells that that as a childhood's faith, the child, we find that in a child we find the faith, we find the belief, and this is the same love what she is possessing. I love thee with the love I seem to lose. And very important thing that that I am always craving for love which I have lost in the past, and that love again I am trying to explore, and hopefully, as far as I kept my finger crossed, that this love is going to give me salvation. It will give me the moksha. And when you talk about the true love, then definitely it gives you the moksha. With my love's lost saints, I love thee with my breath. And when she talks about her past, she tells that that as far as past love is concerned, it has grieved her a lot, and that thing is not going to transpire again. She is hoping for, and this is the reason that she is loving from her breath. Smiles, tears, all my life, and she is ready to give smile, happiness, tears, tortures, tribulations, trying times, happy times, pleasant time, all sort of things she want to give for her love. She is going to sacrifice, because this type of, in love, these are the things which are very essential in life. And I shall put love the better after death. So it is not that that in this life, but beyond the life also I will love. And very important thing is, she says that that I should past my husband or my lover, because in the other life also I will be just thinking that that this type of character should be there in my life, and I shall put love the better after death. And even after death also she is expecting this type of intensity and this type of craving for love as such. So as far as this poem is concerned, I think so all the students should imbibe, absorb, and try to see that that these feelings they should bring in their mind. Thank you very much.
Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.